Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Brewing with Jim. My name is Joseph. I ask the questions, and I hang out here and mostly just talk to my friend Jim here.
We talk to each other. It's fun. Hi, everybody.
Indeed. You are Jim,
I am.
And you are here to answer our questions, Jim.
I'll try.
No, this is a show, again, where we get audience questions, and we just try to provide wisdom and insight to help them out.
Yes.
Let them know.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a question again this week. It's why we're here. It's how the show works. And the question here is this.
Okay.
I feel like I only go to church because other people want me to. Is that a bad reason to go to church?
Well, it's probably not the ideal reason, but I wouldn't call it a bad reason.
Yeah. I mean, anything that gets you to church is probably a good thing.
Well,
to some extent.
I was forced to go to church when I was a babe in arms. I was carried into the church as an infant, having been born into a Christian family, a church-going family, and I was there by my parents' I don't know what the next word should be, requirement.
Sure.
Until I was finished with high school. And I was in the youth group, and I sat I grew up in a liturgical church. Mm-hmm. So we had very defined protocol in the service where we did not talk in the sanctuary.
Yeah.
And when we crossed in front of the cross, we bowed. And we knelt for prayer and kneelers, and we had, it was very strict, strictly defined how we were to behave. And I just sat there as a 4-year-old and 5-year-old and 6-year-old. And then, yes, we had Sunday school, but my parents were in the choir, therefore I had to go sit in the church service after Sunday school. The point is, I was forced to go.
Yeah.
Was that a good reason for me to go? I didn't have any reason. I didn't know what I was doing next. Just get dressed, and then we had to get dressed up and go. I now look back on that experience from the time I was an infant through high school with gratitude.
Yeah.
There was it was good for me to be there. Well, when did the good show up? I had friends in the youth group.
Yes.
But could I have had those friends if I didn't go to church? The answer to me is I don't really care what the reason is you go or are forced to go. Question is phrased almost as though peer pressure is forcing me to go. Sure. And so I go. You'll benefit from it. When? I don't know. That's right. God's deal.
That's right.
Now, sermons and teachings are different in that a sermon requires an application to life. Mm-hmm. Teaching doesn't. When I've taught the Bible most of my life, and it doesn't require that I explain how this is applied to you. That's the Holy Spirit's work.
That's right.
You get the knowledge, and He will teach you and guide you how to apply it. Okay, what happens if I'm forced to go to church and I learn these things? You're still getting the information, at least to some degree and some intensity.
That's right.
When you go. I then voluntarily began to go to church because I was interested in what was being said, and I was being asked questions from non-Christian friends, and I didn't know the answers to them, and I wanted to know the answers to them.
Sure.
So I've been in church most of my life, and I say most because I skipped many weeks when I was in the Navy.
Sure.
In the military.
Makes sense.
And so, yes, it's not the best reason. Yeah, it's a reason to go.
Yeah.
And God understands that. He wrote in Hebrews, "Do not forsake the fellowshipping, the gathering together of one another." Mm-hmm. Well, why? And then many Christians have told me, well, I don't like going to church. I don't get anything out of it.
Sure.
And that's not the purpose. The purpose is to put everything into it. Mm-hmm. You go there because somebody may be maybe wants prayer.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody just wants somebody to sit next to them so they don't have to be alone. And that doesn't mean talk to them. It just sit there.
Yeah.
Just sit there. The ministry of presence.
Be a connection. Yeah.
So there are many reasons
Yeah.
for going to church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My immediate reaction is very similar, that going to church is just a good thing. And so in one sense, it doesn't matter why you're going. It's a benefit. And like you said,
in parentheses, I'm interrupting. I'm sorry for that.
No, you're fine.
I'm not that sorry for it. But in parentheses, it will depend upon the church. There are bummer churches out there who teach doctrine that is not sound doctrine, who teach a theology that is not biblical theology. That needs to be guarded against and avoided.
Yeah. And there are also churches where it's just not physically safe. Like there are leaders present that are not doing a good job stewarding their congregations.
Yes,
just on a
that's true,
physical, meaningful level. But
that parenthetical stuff is aside. And yes,
so
go to church.
I am on the idea of going to church, generally speaking, provided it's a safe and good place, is going to be a good thing. And you will benefit from that. Like you said, you don't know when that might pay out. But it's not going to harm you, and it's not going to be a thing that I would imagine, ever particularly regret doing.
Right.
It's going to be shaping you in ways that are positive. Mm-hmm. And so in that sense, why would you turn that down? What would be the argument for not going at that point?
It's possible also to attend a service. Mm-hmm. We talk about going to church, but we're going to a physical church and we're sitting in a physical pew, so to speak, and we are going to this. It's possible to sit in that pew. I'm here to tell you, it's possible to sit in that pew and not be there. Yeah. You can. I can be at the beach eating fried chicken while I'm sitting there, and my body went to church, but I didn't.
Yes,
and
that's very true.
So but the chances are, if your body is in the church and you're sitting there, your brain will pick up and some of the information. And your spirit will too. Yeah. And you don't always decide what your spirit is going to pick up. And so there you are. There benefits are benefits.
There's a very silly analogy in my head, but I think there's something to it. I'll just throw it out there. Picture like a matchbox and how you have to strike the match on the side to try to get it to catch fire, right? If your ultimate goal is to catch fire or is to light something on fire. That sounds like arson. If your ultimate goal is to start a fire, that's a better way to word it.
Yeah. No, that's a worse way.
Yeah. And in this analogy, starting a fire is akin to your faith really just coming alive and becoming its own thing. Okay. We talked in the past on another episode about the difference between extrinsic and intrinsic motivation, for example. Sure. Your going to church just to satisfy other people is an extrinsic motivation.
Yes, it is.
It's outside of yourself. But that's not sticky. That's not going to stick in your life. If your friends stop going to church for any reason, you're certainly not going to go, right? The trick is to try to get this into an intrinsic motivation, which is something internalized and personalized. And if that, in my analogy, is the fire getting started. Okay. Your goal is to start a fire, and you have a matchbox. You strike a match once, and it doesn't catch fire. Right. What do you do next? You grab another one, or you do it again.
Right. Exactly.
You try again. In the analogy, doing it again is going to church again.
Yes.
Right. So it's like you don't strike a match once and it doesn't catch fire and go, this doesn't work.
You give up cooking.
I can't make a fire now.
Right.
You know what I mean? No. Give it another try. The goal should be go into if it's truly a desire that you want to deeply invest in your faith and have that come alive inside of you, then keep going, keep trying, and it'll catch at some point. It
Yes.
should.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I agree with that. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the person who doesn't want to go to church but is peer pressured into going. I don't know where that person is spiritually.
Sure.
Say you believe in God.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, well, not everybody, but many people say they believe in God and have no idea who he is.
That's right.
It's just a bumper sticker cliche, and you just go with that. Yeah, okay, I guess I believe in God. There are some people who have decided there is no God.
Yeah.
And not only do I not believe in God, I believe there is no God.
Yeah.
Those people, are they going to be convinced at a normal, regular, standard church service? Probably not, because, but that person needs to be intellectually honest enough to seek out what are the arguments against my position and how would I defend them.
Sure.
That is worth it for a person. I should do this and find out. Now, if a person says, I don't know if a God exists or not, they're agnostic. Agnostic just means I don't know.
Yeah.
And my question for agnostics is, what evidence would you accept? What would convince you? And most agnostics to whom I've asked that question don't have an answer.
Yeah.
They want God to be proved in a test tube and a Bunsen burner in a laboratory, and God is not going to be proved that way.
Yeah.
But there are ways to look at the evidence of God's existence. A person, maybe we're way off from why somebody is going to church now, but maybe there will be a stimulation even from this broadcast this episode right now, that would urge somebody to get off it and go find out if your position is defensible, if it's intellectually defensible, or is this just an emotion, or are you looking for the wrong kind of evidence? Now, once that match has been striked, then
my analogy is catching on.
Yes. Well,
this is the beginning of my ministry.
Once that happens, then if you are self-starting enough to determine if your position is defensible, if it's logical, if it's reasonable, if it's something other than emotional or popular or trendy, then you will go find out. And I would hope that the church would be a place where that could happen. If it's not, I would hope the church would be led by people who could guide you in the right direction.
Absolutely.
Here's where you go for these answers. And a lot of those answers right now, in a very different cultural way for me, is on YouTube. There are interviews with atheists by apologetics experts.
Just abundant resources.
And I have listened to many of them. Go there. Now, are you going to church if you're going to YouTube? Not really, because you're not fellowshipping with other people of like mind. But in the beginning, take any baby step you can take. And I don't care if it is YouTube. I really don't.
That's right.
But go somewhere. And get yourself involved in, which is probably the most important question in life, is why am I here, and who is God, and why did he make me, and how did he make me, and where's the universe coming? All those questions. Get answers, because the answers are available.
That's right. Let me put one more spin on this, on the original question.
Yes.
There's a good chance that a lot of our listeners would not resonate with this question in particular. If you're listening and you are a regular churchgoer, and this isn't, you do it for all the right reasons, so to speak. I want to ask you, Jim, on behalf of listeners that just already regularly take themselves to church, how persistent should a churchgoer be at, maybe the verb is dragging friends to church? How persistent and invitational and come on, let's go should you be about getting other people to church?
I don't know if persistent is the word that comes to my mind. I think that there are people who are curious, the poinsettia lily Christians who go on Christmas and Easter for some sort of cultural reason.
Sure.
But that's fine. If the pastor is doing what he's supposed to do, he's going to be preaching to those people so that their curiosities at least have an opportunity to get an answer. I am not persistent. I am just not. Yes, we are to evangelize.
Yeah.
Yes, we are to reach out in love, but I tend in friendship situations to invite but not be persistent.
Sure.
The door's always open.
Yeah.
And then it's not up to me that they go to church. The Bible says the Father will draw them. Let him.
Yeah.
Let the Father take care of this, Father God. Let him take care of this. My job is to open the door, not shove them through it.
Yeah.
Or drag them through it.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that perspective.
That makes sense. That's good.
Okay.
I like that feels like a question more applicable to when there are like children or adolescents are sort of the target, if that makes sense. So, how persistent would you be with your own kids? Is it maybe a different question, but a more realistic one?
Persistent with my kids is get in the car, we're going.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the way.
Up till what age would you say?
Well, there's going to be rebellion from adolescents because that's what they're wired to be.
Yeah.
They're going to rebel. And am I going to destroy a relationship with them? I'm not going to physically force them into the car.
Sure.
You may not be fed any food in the future, but I think a parent's responsibility is to be fairly assertive in getting the children to church. But what if the parents don't go and you're friends of teenagers and they don't go?
Sure.
Do we persuade them and be persistent? We may get pushback from the parents if we are. And this gets complex.
Yeah.
But in my mind, it's simple because I don't know how to do this. I don't know where I should draw the line on how persistent I am.
That's right.
And I have a Lord who wants them in church, and he's all-powerful.
Yeah.
So what am I trying to do forcing this? Let him do this. The Holy Spirit can woo people to Christ.
Yeah.
And he's pretty good at it.
That's right.
And so when I am beyond my power and my skills, then I just depend on him.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay.
I like that. I think that's a good place to wrap up this question.
Okay.
We can jump to our second segment, which is the surprise Jim segment. Always a question that you don't know ahead of time.
Right.
And it's usually kind of silly or just kind of off the wall. You are a person, Jim, that thinks very deeply about words. The words that you say, the words that you use, the words that you write. You have an impressive vocabulary. What if the question I was about to ask you had nothing to do with any of this? I was just saying that. No, it does. It does. But you, as someone who thinks really deeply about vocabulary and the words that you use, here's my question for you this morning. What is a word that you like to use a lot that you find that most other people just don't know or don't say a lot?
Oh my goodness.
I can get you started if
let me start.
Okay.
There are so many words. Okay, let me back up. I'm stammering because my brain is stammering.
I told you love words.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yes. Here I am.
You are a kid that just got brought to a candy shop. So
because I teach American Sign Language.
Yeah.
Students frequently I get the question, "What's your favorite sign?" And I don't know what that even means.
Yeah.
What is? There is one sign I can't. I'm not going to describe it
podcast,
here, but the sign for thorough is so fun to sign.
Yeah.
But I don't understand. What my favorite sign is. Some are difficult to perform. They're just a little bit awkward, and
Yeah.
I see people perform them in different ways because it's awkward. Okay, now we're words.
Yeah.
What's my favorite word? I don't know. My answer would be reconciliation.
There you go.
Because
It's meaningful.
The concept to me is one of the most glorious,
Yeah.
emotion stimulating, but satisfying and biblically perceptive words to reconcile. Reconciliation, Tion, means that which is or that which does. Means again.
Yeah.
Con means with. And then ciliate means to come together, that which brings people together again. Oh,
Wow.
I love that.
Brilliant.
I love that word, but it's the concept
Yeah.
that I love. The students want me to sometimes, is there anything you can't sign? Well, I generally know. I'm fairly fluent in the language, but okay, let's do some big word, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Yeah.
If another student asks me to sign that, I'm going to slap them. Don't ask me that. No, I was kidding.
Of course. No, I know.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's been days since I've slapped a student.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, that's not going to happen today, probably.
Yeah.
I like words because of what they represent.
Yeah.
All words are symbols.
That's right.
They represent a concept.
Yeah. All words are man-made.
Christ is the Word.
Yeah.
He represents the Father. He is the perfect effulgence, the perfect representative of the Father, and you can't be a perfect representative of something unless you are that thing.
Yeah.
And so I enjoy words because they help me refine my language, and a person with a refined language has two advantages. One is clarity, and the other is acceptance. Clarity is important when we are trying to send a thought from my mind to your mind. Now, when God confused the languages in Genesis, he did a great job.
That's right.
He confused them. I won't go into the Genesis reason for that right now, but the languages are so confused that even married couples who speak the same language can't understand each other sometimes.
Sure.
And so we have, I see you're married. You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah, so am I. Okay. The confusion of the languages needs to be brought by an individual into a refined usage, and that requires some study and skill development for clarity in talking to other people. I can go by the lunch tables here at the school and hear, what do you mean? Well, I didn't understand. Well, why did you can you say that again? So clarity and
acceptance.
And it's an acceptance, but it's the word escapes me ironically right
that's
now,
amazing.
and I teach this over. I know clarity and the acceptance of a person's message. A person, right or wrong, and it's wrong. The education and the refinement of the language of the messenger can often determine whether I'm going to accept the message.
Do you mean like acknowledge?
No, no, not really. If I sound uneducated and I'm trying to convince you of some concept, it's possible, likely, that you will say, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He can't even put an English sentence together correctly.
Yeah.
So clarity and that, whichever that word is, that clarity and the acceptance, the willingness to believe what the other person is saying, that's determined by words.
Yeah.
Now, thank you for the comment about my vocabulary. My vocabulary increases all the time.
Absolutely.
There is no way we're going to get to, now I know all the words in the language. But yes, you're right. I do enjoy the words. You know what helped a lot was my Latin classes, because English, much of English
epistemology,
is
yeah.
derived from
Absolutely.
Latin. And when I learned how Latin worked and some of the roots of Latin, then that helped me understand the words. This little dance I just did with the word reconciliation, I can do that with most words.
Yeah.
And that helps me to understand how to use that word and when that word is used.
Yeah.
So,
fun.
I do.
That's fun.
Love words.
Words are great. Let's be done saying them.
Okay.
By ending the episode, just for our audience's time's sake.
I just thought of the word.
Oh, what's the word?
Clarity and credibility. Credibility, I couldn't think. The believability. I'm going to believe what you say if you sound educated.
Yeah.
And I am going to be skeptical if you sound uneducated. And I said, is that right or wrong? Well, it is wrong.
Yeah.
Somebody with bad grammar could be speaking the truth.
Yeah.
But that's the perception we have. So clarity and credibility. Okay, I'm done. Thank you.
Perfect.
Okay,
That's
now
great.
Do your wrap-up thing.
We want to thank you, audience members, for listening.
Excuse me.
This is Brewing with Jim. And if you have a question that you want to ask us, or if you just want to reach out at all, email us at brewingwithjim@gmail.com. We check that all the time, and that's where we get our questions and stories and comments from listeners. So, again, that's brewingwithjim@gmail.com. With that, another episode in the books. Thank you for listening.
It's done, yes.
And
thank you so
we will
much
see you
for
next
listening.
week. Bye.
Bye.
The topics that are covered and the answers that are offered during episodes of Brewing with Jim are designed to mine the wisdom attained from a life of pastoral ministry and care. They do not constitute professional or clinical training or expertise in the areas of counseling or mental health. CVCS and its podcast network want to provide a platform for the discipleship of our community. Brewing with Jim is our attempt to foster that environment in a format that is accessible for everyone to participate in. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed during the show are the speaker's own, and they may or may not represent the views, thoughts, or opinions of Capistrano Valley Christian Schools or its faculty. The material and information presented here is for general information purposes only. This episode has been a production of the Capistrano Valley Christian Schools Podcast Network. Capistrano Valley Christian Schools is a Christian JK-12 school in San Juan Capistrano, California. Be sure to check out, subscribe to, and leave a review of this show and the other shows on our network on your podcast player of choice. Doing so supports the school community in a multitude of ways. For more information about the CVCS Podcast Network or any of our other shows, check out cvcs.org or email podcasts@cvcs.org. On behalf of the whole network, this is Mr. Jasper saying thank you again for listening and stay tuned for more.